The ferry departed under clear skies, as vehicles were loaded carefully onto the lower deck. Crew members guided each car into position, while the captain monitored steady instruments from the bridge. Passengers stepped onto the upper deck, admiring the calm horizon stretching endlessly across the sea. Speed held at 12 knots as the vessel moved confidently toward its next scheduled waypoint. Beneath the surface, distant seismic activity began transferring energy silently through deep water. The first unusual vibration passed through the hull, subtle enough to be mistaken for ordinary swell. Moments later, the vessel lifted unexpectedly as the sea rose beneath it without visible warning. The sudden tilt shifted the balance of thousands of kilograms secured inside the vehicle deck. Restraints strained under pressure as several vehicles began sliding across the steel floor. What began as a routine crossing was transforming into a fight for stability against unseen force. Inside the vehicle deck, crew members performed final checks on chains and wheel restraints.
The secured cars appeared stable as the ferry maintained steady forward motion.
On the bridge, navigation instruments showed clear readings and stable depth levels.
The radar displayed light surface activity, but no immediate hazards ahead.
Passengers continued enjoying the view, unaware of subtle changes developing beneath the hull. Far below the surface, powerful energy waves traveled rapidly across the open ocean. The vessel encountered an unusual lift that slightly altered its balance.
Stabilizers engaged automatically to counter the unexpected vertical movement.
A second shift in water pressure caused the ferry to roll more noticeably to port. Inside the vehicle deck, several restraints tightened under increasing strain.
The angle of the floor began changing just enough to test the limits of friction.
One vehicle shifted slightly from its original position as metal scraped across steel.
Crew members reacted quickly, attempting to secure movement before it escalated.
Another surge passed beneath the hull, amplifying the vessel's roll. Multiple vehicles began sliding together as gravity overpowered their restraints. The stern ramp structure absorbed heavy internal pressure from shifting mass. Water entered through damaged sections near the aft portion of the deck. The routine voyage was rapidly turning into a critical stability emergency at sea. Floodwater spread across the vehicle deck as the ferry struggled to regain balance.
The shifting mass of vehicles increased pressure against the weakened stern structure.
On the bridge, alarms indicated rising water levels in multiple compartments.
Ballast systems activated automatically to counter the growing list. Passengers were instructed to remain calm and move toward upper assembly points. Emergency lighting illuminated corridors as power fluctuations began affecting the ship.
Another powerful swell struck the hull, increasing the vessel's angle again.
Several vehicles collided under pressure and forced the stern ramp further outward. The stern opening widened enough for seawater to surge inside continuously.
The ferry's engines reduced output as internal systems encountered flooding risks.
Crew members sealed internal doors to slow the spread of incoming water.
The inclinometer displayed dangerous roll degrees, approaching structural tolerance limits.
Free-moving water inside the hull intensified the instability of the vessel. Passengers could now feel the steady tilt as furniture shifted across the decks.
The captain transmitted a distress signal requesting immediate maritime assistance.
Nearby rescue units adjusted course after receiving the emergency coordinates.
The ferry continued losing stern buoyancy as flooding spread deeper into the structure. What began as structural strain was now becoming a race against time and water. Rescue helicopters became visible on the horizon as the ferry drifted without propulsion. The stern rode noticeably lower in the water with each passing swell.
Emergency crews organized passengers into groups near the most stable section of the deck.
Flooding sensors indicated that aft compartments were nearing full saturation.
The ferry responded sluggishly as seawater altered its center of gravity. Crew members prepared rescue zones for aerial extraction operations. The first hoist basket descended through strong wind and sea spray. Passengers stepped forward carefully as the vessel continued its unstable roll. The helicopter lifted survivors upward as debris floated across the surrounding water. Inside the hull, structural stress noises echoed through partially flooded compartments.
Electrical systems failed progressively as water reached lower distribution panels. The ferry listed further despite counter-flooding measures inside starboard tanks.
Rescue vessels positioned themselves nearby to receive evacuated passengers.
Emergency lighting cast a dim red glow across tense faces on the upper deck. The stern ramp area was now partially submerged beneath swirling seawater.
Every passing minute reduced the remaining stability margin of the vessel. The rescue operation intensified as the ferry approached critical structural limits. The helicopter hovered steadily as rescue crews coordinated each extraction cycle.
Strong downdraft winds from the rotors swept across the unstable deck surface.
Passengers secured inside the basket were lifted carefully into the air.
Below, seawater continued rising inside aft compartments beyond pump capacity.
Crew members prioritized injured individuals for immediate aerial evacuation. The vessel's list fluctuated as shifting water redistributed internal weight. Rescue vessels maintained position at a safe distance from the sinking ferry. Inflatable lifeboats were deployed on the higher side of the tilted deck. Passengers descended cautiously into rafts as waves moved unpredictably below.
The stern dipped lower with each passing surge of displaced water.
Bridge officers monitored stability data as structural strain increased.
Flooding progressed into midship compartments reducing remaining buoyancy reserves.
The helicopter returned repeatedly as coordination between air and sea teams intensified.
Emergency power systems flickered as water reached additional electrical zones.
The bow rose higher as stern sections continued settling deeper into the ocean. Crew members confirmed that most passengers had cleared the upper deck.
The captain prepared to abandon the vessel once final evacuations were complete.
Time remaining for safe evacuation was narrowing with each structural shift. The remaining crew gathered on the upper deck as the stern continued to settle. Rescue helicopters completed another lift, while lifeboats drifted at a safe distance. The vessel's angle increased steadily as buoyancy reserves diminished.
Crew members performed a final head count before leaving the deck.
The captain remained briefly on the bridge, observing the fading horizon.
A deep structural shift echoed through the hull as internal supports weakened.
Water advanced rapidly through lower compartments now fully exposed to the sea.
The bow lifted noticeably higher as the stern submerged further beneath the surface. Air pockets escaped upward in large streams as the vessel lost remaining balance.
Rescue teams maneuvered rafts farther away to avoid suction effects.
The ferry paused momentarily in a steep angle against the quiet sea. Gradually, the bow began descending as gravity completed its work.
Within moments, the vessel disappeared beneath the surface, leaving scattered debris.
The ocean returned to deceptive calm as rescue units surveyed the area.
Survivors were transported to nearby medical facilities for evaluation and care.
The crossing that began routinely became a lasting lesson in maritime vulnerability.
Medical teams worked methodically as survivors were assessed for injuries and shock. Monitors beeped steadily, while blankets and oxygen restored warmth and stability.
Many passengers struggled to process how quickly the ordinary had turned critical. Hours earlier, the sea had appeared calm and entirely predictable. Yet beneath the surface, powerful forces had already been set in motion. Experts later confirmed that deep-sea displacement triggered the unexpected surge.
The vessel had responded according to design, but the forces exceeded routine assumptions.
Crew discipline and rapid rescue coordination prevented far greater loss. What failed was not preparation, but the illusion of complete control at sea. The ocean does not always announce its danger with visible warning. Sometimes it rises quietly, shifting balance before anyone understands the threat.
For those aboard, the memory remains defined by tilt, motion, and sudden silence.
A routine crossing became a reminder that stability at sea can change in seconds.